Hey everybody, welcome back to Battlestar Galactica Remembered, and this is actually a special episode. I had not planned on doing this one, but as I was going over the last video, and the last video I did, that was the Sidi Full Bore motocross boots, and just as you remember, I got one right here, and these are the Sidi Full Bores, and remember, they come in all black, right? Black leather. You have to paint it, but you know, this is not black, as you can see. This is a beautiful shade of dark brown, which is what they did to the actual boots on the show. And so the fact of the matter is, this is one of those that if you can find a pair of the boots, and by the way, just wanted to get on here really quickly, just in the last week, I was looking at, the auction sites and that sort of thing, and I said, they're very difficult to find, and they are, but just to give you an idea, there were 3 pairs of the Sidi Full Bores that would work perfectly for your Battlestar costume. On eBay, for example, various prices. 2 of them, though, were under $200. The only thing, though, is that obviously with doing something like that, you have to keep looking until you get them in your size. A couple of those were like size 8.5s, a little bit small if you're a man. But hey, if you've got your wife or a significant other or something like that who's doing costuming, an 8.5 might work for them, stuff like that, right? So you got to keep looking. But hey, remember, I looked 20 years before I finally got these. So in my size of a 10, which are very hard to find because, most guys, you're in at like a 9.5 to an 11 or something like that. So they're very hard to find. But in any case, I mentioned on that video that you have to paint them yourself. You have to dye them. I don't like to use the word paint. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I wanted to come back on here because what I've got today for you, and I got the little bottle right over here, is this. And I would come back. I didn't have the bottle. I had to go find it later, and I did find it. I have a couple of bottles of this, but this is the Brillo color spray. Right? The brand is called Brillo, Brillo. The label is a little torn here. When they sent it to me, they were taped together. I got 2 bottles, and when I ripped it off, it kind of ripped off the label. But this is it. It's called Brillo color spray. And it's leather coloring. It's a leather dye. And although, yes, it does come in a little spray can, I don't like using the word paint because normal paint, if you work with normal paint, or if you have ever tried painting, soft, movable, flexible things with like shoes, eventually when it dries, what is it going to do? It's going to crack, it's going to peel, it's going to come off, and it's going to look terrible. That's why you should never use normal, like, house paint, that kind of stuff with leather or flexible things like that, vinyl and plastic for the most part. But this is a special leather dye that you use for leather, vinyl, and plastic, what it says. And they come in 4.5-ounce cans, and you can get them anywhere depending from around $10 to $20 a can, okay? They're a little bit pricey. They may even come in a slightly larger can, I'm not sure, but that's up to you. But the main ones that they sell are these 4.5-ounce cans. And they say that you should get 2 cans because you never know. Now, this was the first can. You can kind of hear the little thing inside it. It's almost empty because I use the majority of this can to paint both of my boots. But they always say, get 2 cans. Why? Because if for some reason, now I went kind of light on mine, but if you kind of maybe spray it a little heavier or something like that, you might run out. And the last thing you want to do is run out of your paint, your dye, when you haven't finished the second boot, let's say, and you're stuck. And you have to wait, you have to order another one. So they say get 2 cans. That way, that should be more than enough. And like I said, for me, 1 can was enough. But like I said, it's all but empty. So, but I had a second can waiting. And the thing is with this one is on the side here, you see you want item number 36, and that is the code for the cordovan brown color. So it says there, cordovan number 36, and that's the nice dark brown that you want. Comes with a color-coded cap. You can look around. The cheapest I found this one is about, I think, $10, $10.95, something like that. Other places charge a little bit more, but you all can search for that. I think I got this one from, I believe it was a place called Montana Leather Goods. You may want to try to search that, but I'm not exactly 100% sure on that. But they were the cheapest one. But, they're $10 to $15 a can, all right? So make sure you get your 2 cans, get outside, do the painting, mask off the metal parts, mask off the outside of the sole so that stays black. It looks really good. And that way you use this, and you just do two couple of coats, two couple of light coats. You paint over it, you let it dry for a few minutes, 20, 30 minutes, come back out, do a second coat, and that's it. And this stuff, like I said, it is absolutely amazing. Here's my boot here again. I mean, just look at that. I mean, you would just absolutely think that these things came in this color brown. It's that amazing how it looks. I mean, and even I, after 2 years, it's been 2 years since I painted these, I'm still amazed at how incredible this looks and how natural it looks. And if ever it does get scratched or it fades off or something like that, well, you just touch it up. You just spray it a little bit more and you got it all fixed up once again. So that's it. The Brillo Natural Color Spray, Natural Leather Dye, that's the one you want to use. Don't use anything else. This is the one that everyone, for the last 20 years, I've heard everybody, this is the one you want to use in number 36, Cordovan Brown, if you've got your Battlestar Galactica boots. If not, keep looking. The big challenge, of course, is finding it in your size. But once you do, get them. You won't regret it. They will make your costume. But then, like I said, you gotta dye them this brown. But this one I think is a lot easier than doing the old color dye for the belts and all that we were talking about in another video. So make sure this is a lot easier. You just kind of spray it on, do a couple of coats, and then you're good. Once you take off all the masking tape and all that, your boots will look just like that. They'll look awesome. So anyway, hope this helps. Long live Battlestar Galactica, and I will see you in the next video.